Hey everyone! So it seems that Nicki Minaj has had a very busy week. First, the deleted tweet from Cardi B, which I will put a link to that video in the description down below, and now her full-blown beef with Wendy Williams. Now, as you know, Nicki Minaj recently got married, and now she's officially Mrs. Petty. Nicki recently got married to her boyfriend Kenneth Petty, a guy who she allegedly grew up with and knew quite well when she was younger. A lot of people were happy for her, but you have some people like Wendy Williams who didn't agree with Nicki's choice in a husband.
Look, there are some naysayers who say, why did you marry this guy, Kenneth Petty? And can you imagine a burgeoning belly with these burgeoning hips? I mean, the plastic of it all. And I don't know what he does for a living. I just know that he did time in jail for, he's a sex offender. Well, she's no stranger to that because her is in jail for
sex offending.
For sex offending. Well, first-degree manslaughter. Now, he served 7 years in prison, and he's also a sex offender. So that means that is a manslaughter a killer? That's okay, so he's a killer and a sex offender. Well, Nicki, congratulations.
Now, if you don't know, Kenneth reportedly had a somewhat shady history with the law. He was allegedly convicted on rape charges and manslaughter. Wendy Williams took it on herself to make a dig at Nicki's choice of husband on her TV show. You know how Wendy does. Now, personally, I think Wendy was doing a little too much because if you are congratulating someone on their marriage, why in the same breath do you need to mention and then emphasize that her choice of a husband is allegedly a sex offender and was convicted of manslaughter? That makes her congratulations seem insincere. But then again, this is typical Wendy Williams fashion, so I didn't expect anything better from her. Nicki Minaj seems to feel the same way about it, and in true Nicki fashion, she took to Queen Radio to drag Wendy.
We always mention people's past, and that's not what God does, Mr. Wendy P. Williams. I got something to say. God already told us that He placed our sins into the sea of forgetfulness. So how can you remember something that God already forgot? How can you blast a bunch of rappers and interview a bunch of rappers that all they do is talk about shooting and killing, then continue to mention somebody that actually did that, who served their time and paid their debts to society? But that's why Kevin was on that island chilling, and I can't. Kevin said, wait a minute, I'm about to have my baby. He called you and was like, well, hold on. Do you mention Gucci Man's body every time you mention him? Or when you discussing his wife, do you mention his man down, his charge? Three times in a row, bitch doing a show acting like she fucking stuttering John. Talk about, is it manslaughter? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does manslaughter? Does it mean that you actually killed somebody? Does it mean that you Bitch, where was you at when Kevin had his dick knee deep in that bitch punani? But I didn't know that in our society, you have to be plagued by your past. I didn't know that people can't turn over a new leaf. I didn't know that your viciousness and evilness was this deep-rooted, this deep-seated. But I understand why now. You sat up there being vicious all this time and paid for that man's mistress for all these years. Child, you paid for her shopping sprees. You paid for her hotels. You probably even paid for her GYN bills, bitch. You paid to have that baby delivered, ho. How you doing? And I was one of those black women supporting you when that came out. I was one of those people saying, forget what she said about me in the past. Let's all surround her and now support and uplift her. And I know that you must have gone through a lot, but you are demonic. You can report the news. People do it all the time. Report the news without the level of viciousness and trying to play dumb and doing all this nonsense. But the real show about you is coming next week, because there's a couple things that we've uncovered about you and certain others.
Woo! Now, I'm not mad at her because when somebody comes at someone you love, you're inclined to defend them. So I think in that sense, Nicki was justified in her reaction to what Wendy Williams had to say. Now, we don't know the full circumstances behind Kenneth Petty's conviction. Nicki claims that it was a wrongful conviction that happened when he was younger. And sometimes with how the criminal justice system is set up, it's easy for young boys to get caught up in the system. At the same time, these are very serious charges, which Kenneth has served his time for. Nicki believes that that should be left in the past. What do you guys think about that? Now, this is a guy who Nicki grew up with, and now has spent quite a lot of time with as an adult. She probably knows him way better than a lot of people do. We clearly don't know Kenneth Petty personally, but this is the man that Nicki Minaj has chosen, whether you like it or not. I just think it was wrong of Wendy to take digs at her and her man while trying to come off as innocent with her congratulations. She even went as far as commenting on Nicki's ability to have kids and made reference to her being plastic because she has had work done. Wendy isn't one to talk because when you live in a glass house, you shouldn't be throwing stones. It is evident that Wendy has been under the knife a couple times herself, and it clearly hasn't worked out well for her since half the time she looks a hot mess. So I don't know why she felt the need to comment on Nicki Minaj's body and how that will affect her having kids in the future. It sure as hell didn't stop Wendy Williams from having a child with her husband, Kevin. After Nicki addressed the situation on Queen Radio, Wendy was not pleased and had her own clapback on her show.
Like, there's this soon-to-be washed-up rapper who can't keep my name out of its mouth. And I love it. I sit here like, okay, keep talking. Say some more.
Now, a lot of people are speculating on who Wendy could be talking about here in this clip, saying it may be 50 Cent. But come on, I am pretty sure that she's talking about Nicki Minaj here. 50 Cent hasn't released any music in a while. He has been focusing on television. He has his hit show Power. So I doubt she would have referred to him as a soon-to-be washed-up rapper since that isn't even his focus right now. That dig was definitely meant for Nicki, so I'm not even gonna speculate on anybody else at this point. It seems that after her recent separation from her husband, Wendy has been feeling herself a little bit too much and she wants all the smoke with Nicki. Usually, people try to avoid the barbs and the beehive, but apparently Wendy is all here for it because she's about that life. But anyways, what do you guys think about this whole situation? Do you agree with what Wendy had to say? Do you think Nicki was wrong for how she reacted? Let us know down in the comments. Don't forget to like and share this video and also subscribe to my channel.